Good morning, YouTube. How are y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing awesome. Back with another video. Today's video is going to be about how to. Sorry, it's early. I'm just waking up. My eyes aren't working yet. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning where I'm at. But anyway, today's video about dealing with people in SHTF, like in a long-term SHTF situation, whatever the case may be, whether it's you know something's going to be for a long time though, for a while, and people, and not necessarily your people. You need people. You need to have your tribe, your mag, your group, your whatever it is you call it. You got to have that. And there's videos on that. I'm not going to really get into a whole lot of that, but it's more of dealing with other people, and what your plan is for dealing with other people, and how you can actually spot, you know, the good guys from the bad guys. Because, ooh, okay, depending on where you live. I mean, because if you live in like the really urban areas that are like highly populated, and you might see a lot of the bad guys out there, at least to start. But in most cases, most people, your neighborhood, your area, your city, your town, your neighborhood, it's all pretty much, most of the people are going to be good guys. They're just going to be out. They may not be your people, but they're still good people. They're out just trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. Support and protect their people. They're not out to harm you. They're not out to steal your stuff. They're not out to, but if you're in your whatever, your bug out location, or even if you've got your little territory, your house, your compound, whatever you want to call it, if you've got it all secured up, your people, doing your thing, and you come across somebody else, or somebody else just happens to be another good guy group that's trying to get their group to somewhere where it's less bad and or good, and they just happen to stumble across your area, whether they come into it or near it or what. How do you handle stuff like that? I mean, is it just shoot anybody that gets close? Because they're not necessarily bad people. They're just trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. So do you really have to start shooting at them, or like, how do you handle a situation like that? You just kind of tuck back and watch, see what they're doing, kind of follow them for a minute, kind of. I mean, like, what do you do? I mean, I'm no expert at this. I'm just kind of explaining a little bit about, kind of get your mind going to, question yourself on this. Like, what's your plan for dealing with other people in that situation? Because they're not all bad people. If you're in an area where you feel like most of the people around you are going to be the bad guys, you need to move. You're in a horrible location already, and you need to get out of there. That's not the best place to be. But anyway, most of the people are good guys. They're just trying to find where trying to get to their location, trying to keep their family safe. Maybe they're a little slow to the party on bugging out, and maybe they're to get to their bug out location kind of comes near your area. They mean no harm. They're just trying to get to their area. And I mean, what do you do? What's your plan of attack for something like that? Because obviously your plan, I mean, there are those people out there. There are a few of you out there that your idea is clear every room, clear every structure, and kill anybody that moves. Some of you have that plan, but to me, you're the bad guy. If that's you, you're the bad guy. Because and that's the thing is most people aren't going to be doing that. And if you feel like you need to do that, or like I said, if you feel you need to do that, or you feel that somebody's going to be doing that a lot, you need to go. I mean, you should be good in your house for a while. If you don't feel safe in your house when SHTF comes, at least to be sustained for a while, to where you can bunker in and be there for somewhat long term, then you're in the wrong place. If you feel like your house is going to get overtaken and within the first few days, yeah, you need to move. You need to relocate. You need to do something. And the bad guys. How do you tell who the bad guys are? Especially those that are pretending to be good guys. Because this country, which is not a bad thing, but it's so diverse that, there's so many different types of people in this country. There's, as far as like nationalities and races, and there's a lot of blacks, there's a lot of Mexicans, Hispanics, Middle Easterns. There's a lot of people in this country, and they all look the same. It's not like a country where everybody looks identical. It's not like that. It's not like China, where you can tell an outsider in China. You can tell who the outsiders are in China. You can tell who the outsiders are in some of these other countries. But like in our country, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it's so diverse that you can't tell who's who. You can't tell who's the bad guy. You can't tell who's the good guy just by looking at him. So how do you know? How do you know who the bad guys are? And what's your plan to find out who the bad guys are? I mean, for one, at least for short term, before it really gets too bad, and people come into your small town or your whatever, is a pre-area study. You got to start getting to know the people around you. I mean, I live in a small city outside of big city. It's about a half-hour drive to the nearest big city, but it's a bigger-ish small city, and I don't know everybody. I don't know. I hardly know anyone. But most of the people, as I hear and I get to know people in this town, I'm kind of still fairly new to the town, which just moved here. But most of the people are like-minded people. They're, as far as politically and two ways and stuff like that, they're all like-minded. They're all, they're not all the same religion. They're not all the same, but as far as like politically and two-way rights and they're all like-minded. But that doesn't necessarily mean when SHTF happens they're going to be good guys or they're going to be bad guys. So you've got to get familiar with your area. You got to be comfortable. You got to be, if you're scared to leave your house at any time, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. Period. But how do you know? And like I said, I don't have the answer to that question, because what is the answer to that question other than stay vigilant ahead of time, pre-plan, have your, do your, awareness, situational awareness, look around, just take a drive through neighborhoods, drive through areas, get to know people, talk to people, I wouldn't say become their friends, because if you want to, you are looking for people yourself, but you can kind of read people. You can't read people by looking at them, but once you start to kind of talk to them and kind of get a feel for them, you can kind of like, yeah, no thanks, or you're good people. You can come around. I may not want you on my team, but you're good people. If I see you around, I'm not gonna like think that you're a bad guy and have to shoot at you. And the next question, the next thought is, how long after SHTF, after the balloon goes up, or after the poo hits the spinny thing on the ceiling, how long after that do the good guys start to become bad guys? Because that is a thing, that is a possibility that, especially once after it's been going for a while, and supplies and food and water and, medical supplies and ammunition. Ammunition shouldn't run low because your goal isn't to go out and waste all your ammo and shoot anything that moves. You're going to use some. You're going to go out. You might have to go out and shoot some game. You might have to go out and you might have to throw rocks at people. Maybe, there's that possibility. But your plan shouldn't be go throw rocks at everybody you see. But, once supplies start running low, you start to become desperate. Man, I'm running out of food. What do I do? How do I, if you don't have a good plan, some of these underprepared people, and like I said, I'm no expert. I'm way underprepared too. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of preaching to myself here. Like, what do I do if it were to happen tomorrow? I'm not really that prepared just yet to plan for a long term. If a long term thing happened, I wouldn't be in a great situation. I mean, I could live for a little bit. I could be fine for a little bit as far as, my food, water, supplies, ammunition, just stuff like that. I've got all the camping gear, camping stoves, stuff like that to keep us be able to cook for a while, but eventually resources are going to run out. And what do you do? I mean, like I said, I'm preaching to myself here too, because I need to work on it more too. I mean, I'm working on it slowly. I'm not rich by any means. I can't just go out and buy everything I need all at once. So I got to just a little here, a little there, and slowly over time I got to build it up a little bit. But like I said, if it were to happen tomorrow, I wouldn't last too long. So how long until people start becoming desperate to where they start turning on people over food because they're hungry? How long until your people, even your people, within your group, start to turn on you because they're getting hungry? And they might just steal a little bit of food. I'm just going to take a little extra because I'm hungry. Or I'm just going to, and then eventually, I mean, like I said, how long until your people turn on you? Can you actually trust your people to where they're not going to turn on you like that? It's just a thing. But anyway, how to deal with people. What's your thoughts? I mean, I may not have answered your question, but maybe I got your thought process going. Like, hey, how do I handle other people? Even how do I handle my people as SHTF progresses deeper and deeper? And it doesn't really, it kind of depends on the nature of SHTF. If it's just, if it's a natural disaster storm or something, you're going to be a week or so, maybe two, and then you're right back, and then you're back home, and you're back doing what you got to do, and you're back to. But if it's something that's like seriously long term, where you're bugged out, you're at your bug out location, it's going along, and how do you deal with other people you come across, or that happen to stumble across you, whether they're good or bad, good, and how do you tell if they're good or bad? because I tell you, because I don't know if you've seen the movie Captain America, Winter Soldier, but they were going off, and the Falcon was asking Captain America, "How do we know the good guys from the bad guys?" And Captain America, "If they're shooting at you, they're bad." So basically, if you come into my area and start shooting, regardless what you are, to me, you're now a bad guy because you're shooting at me. Just like if I'm out walking my group to our location, or we're out with our group and we're bugging out to our bug out location. Yeah, if we come close to your territory, group area, whatever, and your plan is to start shooting because nobody should be around you, or you start shooting at me. You may not be a bad guy, but to me, now you are because you're shooting at me. So that's the other thing is if somebody's shooting at you for no reason, whatever, you don't know if I'm a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know if you're a good guy or a bad guy, but if bullets are flying at me, all of a sudden, to me, you just turn yourself into a bad guy. And same goes with the other way. If I feel the need to shoot at you, then all of a sudden I'm a bad guy to you. To you, I am. Regardless what my intentions are, to me, you're a bad guy. It's like I have a brother he's my actual brother. I started talking to him a little bit about preparedness, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "What are you going to do if something goes really bad, and like another pandemic where there's no food, and it lasts a long time? And He's like, "I have guns." "What do you mean you have guns?" "Okay. What about food? What about? Oh, I'll go take my neighbors because they don't have guns, and I'll just go and take my guns and go over there and steal their stuff." That's a horrible plan. I even told guys that's a horrible plan. That's what people like us are protecting against, because I says, "How do you know your neighbors don't have?" "Oh, I know my neighbors don't have guns." "Okay." Maybe his immediate neighbors are a couple down the road, maybe it's his close, but down the street, a couple houses down the street, they might. And if you're just going house to house stealing their stuff, eventually your time has come. It's a sad deal, but if that's his plan, that's his plan, and what can I do about it? He's not gonna last very long. But just having guns doesn't do it. You might get by the first couple houses, your immediate to the right, to the left of you, but eventually their supplies are gonna run out, and then you have to move to the next house, and then you're gonna have to move to the next house, and then eventually that next house is gonna be waiting for you because they know it's coming. Because those neighbors are eventually going to leave, and watch out for that guy. He's coming out. He's coming basically door to door, stealing your stuff. So they're going to be ready. And since he walks in that door, boom. And that's the thing. Know your people before you know the people beforehand. And he lives far away from me, so I'm not. I don't think he would do that to me either, but if he doesn't know my exact house, because he doesn't know where I live, he's never been to my house before. Like I said, I just recently moved, and, my family, I'm not super close to my family, but it is what it is. But I was just at a Christmas party a while back. Got talking to him about it, and that's what he said. He said, "Oh, I have guns." "You have guns, huh?" "I have guns too. But that doesn't mean I'm just going to go door to door stealing people's stuff just because I have guns and they don't. That's not how you survive the end of the world." Anyway, I hope that kind of got you at least thinking. I know I may not have answered any questions, but I may have got your thought process going to maybe think, how are you going to do it? How are you going to plan for it? And I also got my thought process going. So, like, how am I going to actually handle people? And the biggest thing is know your area. Know as many of the people around you ahead of time as possible, and know what their intentions are, and know what their just kind of know what, kind of get as much information about as many people as you can ahead of time, about the area that you live in, about your neighborhood, your street, your whatever. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. Again, hope that helps some of you at least think of your ideas. If you like this kind of video, give thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I am interested in comments. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me, what you would do, kind of what your plan is. I mean, I don't need your whole plan, your whole bug out plan. Just how would you deal with people? How would you deal with a situation that, if some situation with outside people other than your group happens to come up. Anyway, do the YouTube stuff. Appreciate y'all. Love you. I'll see you in the next one.